Given the importance of human rights to my country, I request that the UN Human Rights Council initiate a credible and independent investigation of alleged human rights violations in West Papua.
MSG continues to follow the question of New Caledonia on the United Nations agenda. We wish the people of New Caledonia all the best as they prepare to decide on their political future in 2018. Solomon Islands reaffirms its support for the inalienable right of the people of the territory of French Polynesia, pursuant to annual resolutions of the General Assembly beginning in 2013. And Solomon Islands continues to request the administrating power to work and cooperate with the United Nations Special Committee on the question of French Polynesia, and hope a C-24 visit will happen soon. Mr. President, Solomon Islands is gravely concerned about the human rights violation against Melanesians in West Papua. Human rights violations in West Papua and the pursuit for self-determination of West Papua are two sides of the same coin. Many reports on human rights violations in West Papua emphasize the inherent corroboration between the right of self-determination that results in direct violation of human rights by Indonesia and its attempts to smother any form of opposition. The principle of sovereignty, Mr. President, is paramount in any institution whose core rationale is the respect for sovereignty. Now, if the jurisdiction of sovereignty rests on a series of decisions that are questionable, then there is a case to challenge the legality of the argument of sovereignty, as is the case of the New York Agreement and the Act of Free Choice. Solomon Islands adds its voice to those of other member countries and civil society organizations who are concerned about human rights violation in the Papua and West Papua regions of Indonesia. As the chair of the Melanesian Spirit Group, that includes Indonesia as an associate member and the United Liberation Movement of West Papua as an observer, Solomon Islands affirms the need for constructive engagement with Indonesia and looks forward to cooperating with Indonesia to address the violation of human rights in West Papua.
In the same way, the principle of self-determination must all be respected and honored. The violation of human rights in West Papua and their desire to achieve self-determination is a reality that this great body, this great hall, cannot continue to ignore. It must take this into account. It must not allow actions in the guise of principles of non-interference and sovereignty as reasons for inaction. The UN must act on this issue and find a workable solution to give autonomy to the indigenous peoples of West Papua.
La décolonisation est encore un problème clé qui exige nos efforts collectifs pour faire de l'autodétermination du peuple une réalité, comme l'exige la Charte des Nations Unies. Nous devons exprimer notre solidarité et notre engagement pour éradiquer le colonialisme sous toutes ses formes. À cet égard, Monsieur le Président, j'ai le plaisir de constater que les Nations Unies aident la Nouvelle-Calédonie avec ses listes électorales. J'espère que les controverses entourant les listes électorales seront résolues à l'amiable entre les parties concernées et que le prochain référendum donnera un résultat juste, transparent et apaisé. Il appartient désormais aux Calédoniens de choisir librement leur futur statut d'autodétermination. Nous, les dirigeants des îles du Pacifique, lors de la réunion récente de leaders du Forum aux États fédérés de la Micronésie, nous avons accepté la Nouvelle-Calédonie et la Polynésie française tant que membres à part entière du Forum des îles du Pacifique, en dépit de leur statut de territoire non indépendant. Il s'agit là d'une étape majeure sur la voie de l'intégration régionale et l'unification des pays des îles du Pacifique, n'abandonnant personne dans la lutte contre les impacts du changement climatique, la pêche illégale, la création d'opportunités économiques grâce au commerce et à des liens économiques renforcés et plus ouverts. Monsieur le Président, la question des droits de l'homme doit rester en tête de l'agenda des Nations Unies. Le secrétaire général des Nations Unies, M. Ban Ki-moon, nous rappelait en 2012 que les droits de l'homme étaient inaliénables et constituaient un principe fondamental des Nations Unies. En tant que membre des Nations Unies, il est de notre devoir de demander que ces paroles soient traduites en actions concrètes. Monsieur le Président, les problèmes des droits de l'homme en Papouasie occidentale restent encore en suspens. Je me tiens encore sur ce podium, comme ont fait mes prédécesseurs, avec la même conviction morale, exhortant les Nations Unies à prendre des mesures concrètes pour résoudre cette question et mes collègues dirigeants à appuyer le plaidoyer des Papous occidentaux. Les Nations Unies ne doivent pas se voiler la face sur les abus en matière de droits de l'homme dans la province de la Papouasie occidentale. Le peuple de la Papouasie occidentale se tourne vers les Nations Unies pour une lueur d'espoir, un espoir de liberté dans l'exercice de leurs droits sur leur propre terre pour affirmer librement leur identité. J'exhorte les Nations Unies d'en faire un volet de son initiative, les droits humains avant tout.
Nauru is deeply concerned regarding the situation in West Papua, including the alleged human rights abuses. As emphasized in the Pacific Islands Forum communique, it is important that there be an open and constructive dialogue with Indonesia on this matter.
Mr. President, a little closer to home, we express for the welfare of the Pacific peoples that residents and citizens in the province of Western Papua, Indonesia. Last year, on this same podium, I stood here and spoke about human rights abuses taking place in Indonesia-ruled West Papua. In the year that has passed, nothing appears to have changed in that place. I use the word appears intentionally because now we still have no way of knowing exactly what is going on in there. Probably something is definitely wrong. Nearly half a century ago, when I was a young man anymore, I had learned, as many others in the region had done, that a wrong was done to the West Papuans. I'm not a young man. I have struggled against great odds much of my life for justice and democracy in my land. In the Christian faith, an universal truism is espoused through the story of the Good Samaritan. After seeing a badly injured man stripped of his clothing, who was a victim of a robbery lying in the sun by the road, without reservation or hesitation or consideration to religious or cultural restriction or biasness, this Samaritan's first reaction was to help the man from his suffering, to clothe him, and to nurse him to health. He took the man and put him in a logical accommodation where the injured man could recover. Tonga has probably or neighborly concern for the welfare of the indigenous people of West Papua, as called for by a decision of our recent meeting of the Pacific Island Forum leaders earlier this month in the Federated States of Micronesia. Tonga supports the call for an open and constructive dialogue with Indonesia regarding the status and welfare of the people of West Papua. As a concerned neighbor, Tonga also calls on Indonesia as a forum dialogue partner to work with it and other Pacific Island Forum countries to facilitate this decision of our fellow leaders, either bilaterally or through United Nations mechanisms.
We join others to advocate for an amenable resolution to the problem in West Papua through meaningful and constructive dialogue.